tonight. I am, of course, Pissy Miles, the impeachment queen. You may remember me from when I went and covered the first day of the Donald Trump public impeachment hearings, and it was a bit of a splash. So here we are, and I'm actually joined tonight by one of my best friends in the whole wide world.
One of.
One, one of my favorite people in the entire world. She is the amazing Jasmine Rice LaBeija from the Royal House of LaBeija here in New York City. How are you, Jasmine Rice?
I'm good. Hello, my dear subjects. It's your queen, Jasmine Rice LaBeija from the Royal House of LaBeija here in New York City. I just wanted to repeat.
I was like, I'm so sorry I stole your intro. You can have it back. I'm done
No
with it
problem.
now.
You look gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you, I know. You look beautiful as well.
Thank you.
Looking
I woke up
very
30 minutes ago just for this.
She woke up like this.
I did because I fell asleep like this. You're welcome. Oh my God. Hello, people. Hello from Chicago. Welcome back.
Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be back, Drew. Hello, Drew Shepard. Kids,
Oh,
I'm
I
very
know. We
excited
know
because
Drew
tonight we get
Shepard.
to. Do you know Drew Shepard?
I mean, do I know Drew Shepard? No, I don't know.
Oh, thank you. They're beautiful.
Your eye check,
It's
German.
all we're good for. Kids, I'm very excited because tonight I have my very good friend Jasmine Rice here to discuss with me a huge piece of news that was announced today. Joe Biden announced his vice presidential pick for his candidacy. He picked Kamala Harris, the senator from California, and we are just going to talk a little bit about what this news means for everyone here in the United States because this is a huge announcement. Hello, Brett. Hello in Los Angeles. We're just going to chat a little bit about Kamala Harris. Jasmine, how do you feel about Kamala being chosen as the vice presidential pick?
Well, I think it's going to go down in history, obviously, because she is the first woman of color to be ever considered for such a high position uh, in the country right now, and the first woman of color to ever be considered to be vice president, right? So I
Hmm.
think that is an epic moment right there and a stepping stone to right direction. I'm actually surprised. I didn't even know that she was the first woman of color to ever be considered for vice presidency. So I think that is amazing. And I mean, you said something in the beginning about like concerning Americans and people who live in this country. But I think because America is such a powerhouse, it actually affects the whole world who the vice president is going to be. I think because our current administration, which is Trump and Pence, we're kind of like a laughing stock. And I think if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris got into office, will kind of bring back somewhat of a respect or dignity that we used to have before. So I'm kind of excited about it. I mean, there are some political views I know that some people disagree and agree on, but
Hmm.
I, to start off, was always a Kamala fan. So I was very upset when she dropped out early on because of the money situation. But yeah.
Well, I think you make some very good points. The first of which is that this is a historic nomination. She is the first woman of color to ever secure the candidacy. Well, so far we still have the convention in about 2 weeks, and you should definitely check back here on HAPS. We will be covering the Democratic
Oh,
convention
are you going?
here on HAPS. Well, I'm not going, but you may see a familiar face broadcasting from New York City about the
Oh.
Democratic Convention. And at the Democratic Convention, obviously, it will be announced formally that Kamala Harris will be the first woman of color to ever secure the
She'll be
candidacy
the
of the for
second
the vice
lady in
president,
America.
the second lady of America. And I think in term of visible metrics, that is a very important thing. It is very important for young people of color to see not only a person of color but a woman of color in such a prestigious position and
Yeah.
in such a position of power and influence. And something that I think deserves to be brought up is the fact that, a lot of concerns were brought up about the idea of Bernie Sanders being 78 years old. And if Joe Biden does win the nomination, if he wins the election, he will be 78 years old when he becomes the president. And so we are in a very delicate balance. Obviously, no one hopes for anything terrible to happen to the president
Are
of the
you
United
sure,
States.
Pissy? Are you sure?
But but it is fair to say that having a woman of color being the next in line is a huge step. Now,
Well,
there
honestly,
are a
for
lot
me,
of there.
I wanted a woman in office. I
I
wanted
know you
like
did.
Elizabeth
You were
Warren or Kamala or someone in office. Anything but Klobuchar, but yeah.
Agreed. And I think it's important to mention, we have one user's comment who says Kamala is a cop. So there is kind of a delicate balance that we're finding in this situation. Obviously, on one hand, it is a really momentous occasion to see a woman of color being nominated for this position. But then on the other hand, we have this other kind of prevailing idea that a lot of people are going to struggle with, which is the idea that Kamala Harris does have a very checkered past when it comes to law enforcement, especially when it comes to incarceration, and especially when it comes to the incarceration of people of color. So I think the I think the challenge is going to be how do we how do we come to terms with the idea of Kamala Harris as our vice presidential candidate when there are obviously going to be criticisms of Kamala for her work as the district attorney in California, in San Francisco, and obviously some of what she's done as a senator even has been red flags for people. But I do also want to point out that uh, she's kind of an enigma, right? Because so much of her work recently has been in support of Black Lives Matter, and even
And
going
she
back,
her herself is a black woman, isn't
she
she?
is a black woman.
You
So
know,
that is obviously an important
I mean,
distinction.
I think people forget like, oh, she was a horrible district attorney or state attorney. I think there are a lot of missing pieces, and I know I'm not trying to like give her passes if she did something wrong and was problematic.
Hmm.
I think it should definitely be addressed. But as a person who has to enforce the law one way or another, I think there's a lot of different aspects and details that we personally don't know as just public, regular citizens that go into incarceration and all those things that she's kind of tainted for. I actually don't know all the specifics. I mean, I doubt, like, if I was, let's say I'm a state attorney or someone, I don't think I would go out of my way to make LGBTQ plus people more difficult with cops. I don't think I would go out of my way to make Asian people to be arrested more or help enforce the laws that are more difficult for her own community. So, and again, I'm not like giving her passes or saying like she didn't do it, but I think there's a lot of details that are missed out because of the legal issue. I'm sure there are definitely certain things she can't share with the public
Hmm.
because it's against the law. So, someone saying that Kamala is a cop, um, I mean, like you said, Pissy, she has been a very active voice in this Black Lives Matter movement, and so it's just like